What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and in this video we are going to be taking a look at a Wonder Waddle game, and Wonder Waddle is always a lot of fun, but this video does not disappoint. We're going to start by picking up a happy little tree and transforming it to evil with Shard of the Ice Queen, hoping to get one of those evil tier 2 animals so that we can really start to do some powerful stuff here with Wonder Waddle. And we get the goat, which is great. That is the best thing that we could have gotten, probably. I mean, maybe Kitty Cutpurse, but we're up against Sad Drac, so it's probably not slaying regardless. But Kitty Cutpurse, the goat, and Black Cat were all pretty reasonable options in terms of hitting more animals. And then we're going to find another animal in Polywoggle and then roll into an additional Polywoggle. So I was considering maybe we will try to slay with Polywoggle this turn. I'll put it in the first position and we'll just see what happens, though we're up against the Fates, so could be a little bit tricky trying to slay, but next turn we will be able to grab an upgraded Polywoggle instead, so that is going to be really fantastic for us, and we'll also be able to pick up a Wizard's Familiar. Maybe we'll be able to do something fun with that, and then we also have another Shard of the Ice Queen there, which we can potentially use to get another evil animal. When you see that the Fates has won their first combat, it gets a little bit scary, and we are going to be playing up against an Egg Fates. So a little bit unfortunate, but this turn we get to really pop off. We'll grab the pair of Wizard's Familiars, skipping that treasure, pick up the Polywoggle, and I'm going to skip this treasure as well because we can pick up Sherwood Shoreshot and flip that into an evil unit as well. Doesn't turn into an animal, but still pretty good. This is a pretty strong board. We're only playing 4 units right now, so this isn't anything super crazy, though we've got two 4/4s and then a 6/2. All of this is looking pretty good. I'm going to put the Polywoggle in position number 4 so that hopefully it doesn't slay, and that way we can slay with it next turn and get a tier 4 unit, and that's going to be important for what is probably the title and thumbnail of this video, how we wind up getting a tier 6 unit so early on in the game. Does look like we will be walking away from this combat just barely losing this one. So we take 5 damage. That is a little bit unfortunate, but I don't mind taking some damage when we can set up some huge things to come. We'll cast the Shrink spell. That is pretty straightforward, and we'll be able to grab the Mad Mim to support this Polywoggle, which is really quite lucky and going to give us a pretty strong board here now. We were just able to pick up 3 units for 5 gold. That's pretty nice, and they're pretty sizable units as well. The Mad Mim supporting the Polywoggle is absolutely huge. It's also supporting a Kitty Cutpurse, so if the Polywoggle doesn't slay, well, the Kitty Cutpurse probably will. That's assuming they attack into the Polywoggle. 1 in 8 chance, but I'd say even though we are playing against Pup, which could have like Baby Root or something, a 5 attack Polywoggle on 3.0, still pretty likely to slay. And then we've got a bunch of other 6 attack units, the Wizard's Familiar, the Tiny, and the Minotaur. I think we're doing pretty good. And we are going to be able to get our Slay with Polywoggle. We take out their Vampire, and we are going to get a little bit of extra cash from the Kitty Cutpurse. So things are going really good. This game is definitely looking good for us now, despite being at 31 health. I think we're going to be able to start to turn some things around. We roll into a Juliet. So now I really want to try to find a Romeo or a True Love's Kiss, which I find immediately, and that's going to allow us to turn Juliet into Cupid. Now, Cupid is a good unit. It's also good that it is a good unit, because that means that we would potentially be able to Shard of the Ice Queen it, but we find another True Love's Kiss. So clearly I am going to be locking that one, and we're going to be flipping Cupid into a tier 6 unit on 3.2, which again is probably the title of the video. So that is really fantastic for us, and we can see my opponent, this Sharon, has a huge Wizard's Familiar, though Cupid is also kind of huge. It doesn't even look like Cupid is necessarily going to matter, as, yeah, it doesn't really. Our other units take this Sharon out. And that was a 40 health Sharon too, but a 220, pretty big. But what's even bigger is this Bear Stain, which you may have seen from the thumbnail, not sure. But that's going to give all of our units +4/+4, which is pretty good. That is definitely going to give us a lot of just raw power here, and it's going to be enough power that I'm going to try to see how we can use this power to build out power in other directions. And namely, that's going to be, we've got this Wizard's Familiar already, trying to find Hat Ball or something like that. I don't really love summon strategies right now, which is obviously what Bear Stain wants you to do. I would much rather try to play Hat Ball or just pivot into something else in the late game. And potentially, Bear Stain is going to give us the flexibility to be able to do that. So we'll see where this brings us, but I'm certainly not sold into any particular direction at the moment. Just happy to have a 1723 that's also giving my entire front line +4/+4. All that's pretty good. So that's mostly what we're in for here. And now we are going to be able to pick up this stag. Hopefully we can find a hat or a ball. That would be great. But we find Deep Stone Mine, Ancient Sarcophagus, and Cloak of the Assassin. The only one even borderline worth considering is this Cloak of the Assassin. The other two really aren't going to do too much for us. Ancient Sarcophagus is just not going to give us enough on the current board. I mean, we do have 4 units for it right now. And then we find a Shard of the Ice Queen. And that is going to be enough to make me want to Shard of the Ice Queen this Gumball Gore. There's a lot of really huge things that you can hit there. The chief among them probably being Ashwood right now. Just start into trees as early as 4.0. That would give us clear direction. Doom Breath would just be absolutely insane. And Gumball Gore is also pretty good. Gumball Gore is a huge ranged unit, which is probably going to give us a little bit more value than Bear Stain would. And it is also going to give us value in the 2 units that it supports. Now, it's only supporting 2 units as opposed to supporting our entire front row, which Bear Stain was kind of doing. But it is going to mean that the things that we do support are really, really good. Like giving +20 attack to this Kitty Cut Purse is going to just guarantee that it's going to slay. So it's 2 extra gold per turn as well. And then the Stag also gets to trade with this Juliet because that has extra attack. And then the Gumball Gore should be able to clean things up. We'll take out my opponent's Juliet. This is actually a little bit of a close one. We could have tied this. But either way, we're getting the Black Cat gold, we're getting the prized pig gold, and we're looking pretty good. So I'm thinking, how can we pivot this lead into a lead in a different direction? We were unable to find Hat Ball. Maybe it is time to go for the end. And one thing that I do like about Gumball Gore as well is it does have some synergies with... what's the card that's 2 everywhere right now? The tree? I'm totally blanking on the name. I have no clue why. The tree, Burning Tree. That's what it's called. Has a bunch of synergy with Burning Tree because you are going to be able to give it +20/+20. So that winds up being pretty good too. I see another XP spell in this shop, and I think I want that because I'm thinking that Gumball Gore is strong enough that it's going to carry us for a little bit, and we can focus on getting XP and then probably going into trees. Maybe we'll look at some of these other animals. The pig will potentially pick up next turn. Notably, I was skipping treasures earlier, and right now I am picking up treasures. And the reason for that is I'm not just trying to skip and continue to roll. I want to just pick up these treasures and lock the shop, and the treasures kind of put my gold elsewhere. With this runestones and secret stash, it's like, you know, stashing things away for the future potentially. Earthquake going to be a little bit nasty, takes out our Kitty Cut Purse, which is unfortunate, and my opponent has an Ancient Sarcophagus, So they're kind of looking big. Along with their needle nose daggers, they're going to take out our prized pig, and it does look like they are just going to take us out completely as well. Not by this Sporko necessarily, but oh yeah, I guess the Sporko did do it because it had the needle nose dagger. So we will cash in our secret stash now, which just means, hey, we've got more cash to spend this turn. So winds up being totally fine. This is a really interesting shop because it's got prized pig and it also has a Turkish delight, which we might want to cast if we don't win the combat this turn, but I don't really want a tier 4 treasure. There's almost nothing I can do with a tier 4 treasure. I would much rather find either a copy of a lower tier animal, I should probably pause for a second, or find the 3 blind mouse triple. I do consider some questing units like the Nutcracker, though we're not really super well set up to play the Nutcracker. I also do consider Time Flies, which I think is at its best when you have a Gumball Gore, because that is going to allow you to, Black Cat gets in there, Kitty Cut Purse gets in there and slays, and then all of a sudden you've got a 23-33 to replace it. So kind of makes good use for itself. There you can see, yeah, I'm really considering that I want to just roll for the blind mouse, but then we find Lancelot. And Lancelot's actually quite decent here. It auto-completes with the fact that we have this Gumball Gore. And then there is a prized pig in the shop, which wouldn't be the worst lock in the world. We could lock this here, and then we'll be able to grab a tier 3 treasure because we know we're going to be able to grab a tier 6 treasure from Lancelot. This is always really tricky, though, because we don't know if we're going to win this Wish Upon a Star. So it's a little bit of a hedge to lock the pig. Picking up a tier 3 treasure before we go into tier 7 is probably one of the better uses that I can spend my next turn, or before we go into tier 6 rather, is one of the better uses that I can make for my next turn, though we don't know how this is going to shake out. I do think I'm potentially going to lose because we are playing up against the lobby leader here in the Fates, but turns out we're doing pretty good, all things considered, and we're almost able to get out of this one with our prized pig gold even intact, but more importantly, we are going to win this Wish Upon a Star. So that's really, really good for us. We're also going to get a tier 6 treasure, and this early in the game, you got to remember, we are still 3 XP up on the rest of the lobby. Ivory Owl is pretty good. Phoenix Feather is also cool for where I want to go, but I think we're going to have the time to really scale this board out. And I'm trying to think of what other ways I might want to play this. We could take Ivory Owl, and then we've got Shoulder Fairies plus Lancelot and Gumball Gore, and that might just be enough of a direction in itself. Haunted Helm plus 10 attack on the Lancelot could also be pretty decent, because that is going to mean that the Shoulder Fairies also gets plus 10 health as well. So I'm kind of thinking, okay, this isn't a build that I normally play, but some type of Shoulder Fairies build where we just stay strong right now and we continue to scale is going to be pretty good. Then I see a pair of Burning Trees, and I'm like, okay, I should probably play some Burning Trees. So we're going to wind up locking onto this and trying to pivot onto these trees next turn. I'll just grab both of these trees and then try to find Ashwood Elms and Echo Woods, that typical stuff. But for a second here, I was considering maybe doing something a little bit different. I think that ultimately this is just going to wind up being stronger for us, though, finding these Burning Trees, which are getting +2/+4 every turn, and then also we can give them +20/+20 immediately from the Gumball Gore, so all that's pretty good. Prized Pig getting to give us a little bit of extra gold this turn as well, so we'll pick up the Burning Trees, and then we might still be able to make some use of the extra gold here. We've got a few rolls that we can deliver, and we're going to find an Ashwood Elm, and we are going to find a Heartwood Elder. So I think at this point we're out of Shoulder Fairies territory, and the shoulder fairies and trees just don't really have that much synergy anymore. What we have to decide is if we want to make this Heartwood Elder thing work. It would be a little bit of a downgrade taking out a 27, 28 for a 5/7, but I think that ultimately it is going to be the direction that we want to go in. We're kind of in this position right now where we are scaling a lot of the units that we're playing, and I feel like I can actually still get away with playing this prized pig as well. It's tight. It's tight. Like, do you want to sell the prized pig or do you want to sell out of this pair of shoulder fairies? But I'm going to keep playing the prized pig. I think that we're strong enough. I'll throw the Lancelot in instead of the shoulder fairies. And now we'll just kind of continue to grow this board. And I play around with the ordering there at the last second too. But also want to be using the Ashwood Elm in the Helm slot because that's going to give both of the burning trees +10/+10, as well as giving the Heartwood Elder in the back the +10 attack too. So this is kind of the idea from here, just going into trees, but I thought this was still a really interesting game. I think for the most part, the end game is going to play itself out in a pretty straightforward way, but how we got here was obviously pretty unique with the early Gumball Gore. Normally, I think I am not typically using the Heartwood Elder at this stage of the game. I'm kind of just rolling past Heartwood Elder, though I do think that this game is unique in the fact that we have this Ivory Owl, because that just really puts this emphasis on this scaling board. From here, I am going to dream out of Wonder Waddle because other than picking up golden chicken pairs, we're kind of not really doing anything with Wonder Waddle at this point. And honestly, Pup is fine. It's a little bit silly to dream into Pup, but currently we're playing 3 support units. I don't really love Cursed King at this stage of the game because I don't want to have to cast a spell every turn, and we do have 27 health. We could afford to not cast a spell 8 times or so, but I'd rather just not have to worry about that. I don't really care too much about the extra gold if like 4 of it is, or 2 of it has to go into a spell every turn. So rather just go into Pup, be a little bit stronger for the current combat, and I think that's going to be good for us. My opponent playing with a bunch of Puff Puffs, so a pretty silly board from them, but their backline doesn't have anything that we have to worry about. So this is going to be a win and a kill onto Sadrak, which puts us at least into the top 4. Let's see if Sharon is still hanging in here as well. Sharon is in the game indeed. They were able to defeat Loki, it looks like. So we are going to be playing up against said Loki now, and we'll be able to pick up an Echo Wood to add to our roster, as well as a Heartwood Elder, which is really good because I just ran out of room to place this Echo Wood. So all that's pretty nice. We could take Forking Rod right now just because we have the Spinning Gold in the shop, and honestly, I don't think that that's that bad of a move. Just basically using the Forking Rod to float this gold into next turn and try to find a way to create a lead from there. I'll hang on to the Shoulder Fairy for another second. I don't think there's really a chance that this Shoulder Fairy is making it back in now that we found this Echo Wood. And I mean, like, we could cut like the Lancelot or the Heartwood Elder or something for it, but this is going to be pretty good, and looks like we are going to be able to defeat this Loki and walk away with some spinning gold for our troubles. So really good stuff here. And yeah, we're just continuing to be strong. We're not quite going to kill the Loki. We're going to bring them down to 3, but we get 6 extra gold, 18 gold to roll for some trees this turn. And now, at this point, we are really just looking for Echowood Burning Tree and Ashwood Elm. We could pick up the Hercules, but I actually like this Feed the Kraken here. Let's grab 4 more gold, go up to 22 gold, or 20 gold rather. And then let's see if we can't find some more trees. Pick up a golden chicken just to hang on to some gold here, but really I think that like Hercules, it's too late in the game for Hercules at this point. We do get to triple our burning tree, which that part is nice, and I think it's Hand of Midas. I do like Staff of the Old Toad, but I think that this is a point where we're going to be looking for Hand of Midas, and I think we can toss this Forking Rod. We could also toss the Helm, but I think tossing Forking Rod is good enough, and then we'll roll, try to just find a tree of some capacity, either this turn or next turn, probably next turn by the looks of it, and I guess we'll throw this golden chicken in for the time being, which is totally fine. We'll just put it in the back, so that way it's just there, and it's kind of like a prized pig. It's like a prized pig that can die. It's going to give us 2 extra gold next turn. Interestingly, the Forking Rod more than paid for itself, as it gave us 6 extra gold with the spinning gold, or 3 extra gold with the spinning gold, and then 2 extra gold with that Feed the Kraken. So it gave us 5 gold, and then we tossed it, I guess. Yeah, no, it gave us 5 gold. And then we'll toss this Fates out of the lobby as well. And that was the main reason I picked Hand of Midas, kind of was talking over that a little bit. But basically, I knew this was going to be the last turn of the game. You had to look at the lobby. It was only me and the... 3 other players left, so 2 players probably dying this turn, and then this will be the last combat. So really good use of Hand of Midas there, and then I will be picking up this Green Knight and just trying to get the most stats on this last possible turn, and I will even get rid of this Lancelot to pick up the Green Knight and support these Ashwood Elms even more, putting the first Ashwood Elm, this is the last combat, so scaling doesn't really matter, so I'm putting the upgraded Ashwood Elm in the Helm slot, and then supporting both Ashwood Elms with the Green Knight, just to max out on both of their health. It is a little bit weird to have the Gumball supporting an Echo Wood, but this is just the best supports that brings the most stats to our board for this combat, and that's all that we need, because there's probably not going to be another combat after this. Maybe Sharon is bigger since the last time we fought against them, but I think that we're probably doing pretty okay with these trees. And like I said, this end game here, pretty straightforward. I think we should be able to clean this one up. Yeah, it does look like it, unless this is a scam and a half here. Nope, that is just a pair of earthquakes. Not even a half a scam. And by a scam and a half, I think I meant like it has to be 4 scams somehow. It needs to like somehow... They needed like a bunch of cupids or something, I think is the only way that they really get out of that one. So that is going to be a first place finish. Let me jump back there to the victory screen just while I talk for a second here. Sweet game. Gumball Gore on 4.0, I believe we found the Gumball Gore, but 3.2 we found that tier 6 unit, and that just made this one a lot of fun. So that is going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. New Storybook Brawl videos every day at 9 p.m. EST. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.